Mr. Philippe Van Exem, Civil CEO Chair of NATO Operational Energy Committee, Defense Policy and Planning Division, Office in Brussels. My first question is related to the NATO pipelines. How important is this infrastructure for countries like Poland and for Central Eastern Europe as well?
Oh yeah. So the NATO pipeline system had always been a major asset for NATO in the past. That's why the reason why they were built. We have 9 of them, of which the Central Europe pipeline system is the biggest one, which is centralized in Central of Europe. NATO have assessed its NATO fuel supply chain over the past years, and at the highest level, the decisions were taken to fill up the shortfalls that were identified. And we are working now to solve that at the short, medium, and long term. We are starting with low-hanging fruit. This means that we're going to beef up our existing infrastructure to be able to support NATO's east flank. So no formal decisions have been taken yet on how that exactly going to look like, but at the end of the year, the plan that was which has been developed by the strategic commands will come to the NATO headquarters for allies to consider and to decide on the way ahead. We already can say that there will be a need for investments in fixed petroleum infrastructure. Where and how, this is still open. But obviously, Poland is an important pole and hub in the north here. Obviously, the CEPS looks to be the main candidate to support that area. So, by extending its capabilities, how are we going to do that? That needs to be identified and agreed. But that's what the plan will look like for that region.
So, how are we going to do that? What NATO needs from countries like Poland, from our government, or from Brussels, maybe?
Well, what we need is what we need is actually not specific to Poland. It's valuable for everywhere where we're going to invest in new NATO infrastructure, petroleum infrastructure. It has not been a standalone project. The idea is to incorporate it within civilian and military national infrastructure. So it forms like a network. So if you build a depot and you have no means to bring the fuel there or to produce the fuel there, so we, for example, we would connect a new built pipeline to a refinery to bring in the fuel. Okay? So the network thing. Why is this important? There's several reasons why this is important. First thing is, civilian infrastructure is built for peacetime use.
For commercial use.
Commercial use for peacetime use. If we build NATO infrastructure, petroleum infrastructure, fuel infrastructure, it's calculated for war. It has to be able to support the war. What does that mean? During peacetime, we have a spare capacity. And having an integrated network, we can use, and NATO already authorized the use of spare capacity for civilian commercial purposes. The advantage is double. First, it hires the resilience, the rollover resilience of the nation itself, the host nation of the system. Plus, it keeps the system in shape. A pipeline system is, for example, is a hydraulic system. It needs to work. The fuel needs to flow, needs to be refreshed. Third, when there's a commercial use, there's an offset of the working cost for the host nation. Because NATO is paying for the infrastructure, but operating and the maintenance of the system on its territory for a specific country, in case of here Poland, falls on the Polish government. So if there could be a commercial activity, with the commercial activities, the revenues could offset that cost. And they're doing that with the CEPS, Central Europe Pipeline System, for over 60 years with big success. So the business model of the CEPS is actually, I would say, the best there is that we know for the time being.
And what is the proposed schedule of the development of this technology when NATO pipelines?
But there's not the technology, it's a capability development. So that will be, we are not starting everywhere at the same time. There will be a prioritization. The strategic commands will identify where the priorities lie. because they know the requirements, they have the plans, and from there we're going to start. So they're going to be low-hanging fruit when they say, which can take, say, for example, beefing up or changing existing infrastructure, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. But if you look for a longer thing, we will go up to maybe 15 years to have a full-scale infrastructure.
Philippe Van Exem, NATO office in Brussels. Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure.